Okay, so it's been a while since I've worked on this thing. Uh, it is currently Labor Day weekend here in California, and it's hot as balls. So I put up a canopy in order to be able to work on this thing outside of morning hours because that's when the sun is behind the garage and I can work in shade, but outside of that time, it's under direct sun. So at least now I can get here and have some shade, provide with the fans, and I'll be able to work on it better. So I'm going to now prep and sand and do all this to do all that to the bulkhead. I'm gonna so I can prime it. In order to do that, I gotta drop down the transmission. So I'm gonna get a jack under here with some supports. Build something. I have two other jack stands. I'll put maybe a piece of wood or something on there. Drop it down at least 3 inches, hopefully, maybe even more, and then I'll get in all behind here, sand with a power sander as much as I can, and then the rest by hand. Just gonna scuff up mostly, and then get rid of that rust, of course, and go from there. Okay, I lowered the transmission onto a little support. It looks like it's fairly stable. You can see that I have a whole lot of room underneath there now where I can get in there. Yeah, that trans isn't gonna go anywhere. I hope, I pray, I think. So long as I don't bump it while I'm sanding, I think I'll be all right. Okay, now it's time to get all these little accoutrements off and start sanding. I have been sanding for probably 45 minutes, or at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And at this time, the phrase "perfect is the enemy of good" comes to mind. I would love to take it down to bare metal. Careful, cat. And do a pristine job. But I just want the damn car on the road. And in order to do that, I do have some certain requirements. One is the engine bay has to be painted the same color as the rest of the car, which means it's going to be black. At this point, I am going to just take down the rust, do a scuff job on the rest of the bulkhead here, and the frame. If it's sufficiently flat enough and large enough, like a big enough flat surface, I will use the power sander. So maybe down in here, definitely along the passenger frame rail. I don't even know if you can see that because I have the camera set up, but it's in there. And then the rest, I'm just gonna prime, shoot prime, sand it, shoot prime again, sand it, and then paint. And then it will be good. It will not be perfect, but it will be good. And that's all that matters. And those of you who might think that 45 minutes, that's not that long to sand, I understand. Paint priming or paint prep is a very tedious process, and it can take a while. I'm totally aware of that. And I just don't care. I don't like this particular kind of work. I'm not a body guy, I'm not a paint guy. I am a mechanic. I am also a very, very, very amateur machinist. I can deal with thousandths of an inch tolerance for an hour and a half. I really hate sanding and prepping for paint. Kudos to those of you who can do that. You are a different breed. That's just not me. Okay, I have kind of finished sanding, or at least finished to the point where I'm not going to do any more right now. I'm soaking the entire thing in a little bit of degreaser Purple Power because there was quite a bit of grease left on the frame rails, and now I'm going to blast it off with some water. How can you blast off a piece of metal with bare, shiny metal exposed, you ask? Why? Well, to paraphrase Crazy Gideon, because I'm lazy. It's now a couple hours later. Came out, it's pretty much dry. There was a little bit of surface rust on the bare metal that I had, that I sprayed water on to wash it all off. So, and I took some Scotch-Brite pad and scuffed it up. Like I said, good, perfect is the enemy of good, and I know that this should be nice and clean, and it shouldn't have gotten water on it, and it shouldn't have rust or whatever. But again, I just want it done. So now I'm going to mask off some of the holes, not this one because it goes straight into the drain cowl, whatever. I don't care about that. But this one right here, I'm going to mask off a little bit, or at least try to maybe plug with a rag or something, and then I will spray primer and get it all nice and coated.